Everybody likes horror stories, and we all know those are just folklores. But the real horror stories are the ones that you somehow know are true. Maybe it's the haunting that takes effect over the body or a demonic presence latched to the words. You don't need to believe in ghosts to enjoy a ghost story about some of the most haunted places. All it takes is a creepy location, a touch of imagination, and a glimpse of something unexpected, only half seen. So prepare to suspend your disbelief for this countdown of the top 10 haunted locations, with bone-chilling stories. Number 10. Savannah, Georgia. Home to dozens of celebrated haunted houses and hundreds of ghost sightings, Savannah is often called the most haunted city, especially by its many ghost tour operators, who often begin with a visit to the city's historic Bonaventure Cemetery. Among the cemetery's resident ghosts is that of Gracie Watson, a 6-year-old who died of pneumonia in 1889. Her ghost is said to haunt the life-size statue that stands over her grave, which, like several other funereal statues in the cemetery, are sometimes said to move as if they were alive, while the sounds of children playing or crying is sometimes heard nearby. Number 9. Waverly Hills Sanatorium. This grim, bat-winged building is the archetype of the haunted hospital or insane asylum. It was built in 1910 to treat victims of the White Plague. At the time, there was no known cure, and the disease was often fatal. Certainly, the sanatorium was the scene of many deaths over the years, although claims that more than 60,000 patients died there. In the years since Waverly Hills was closed for good, wanderers, thrill seekers, and ghost hunters who found their way inside the building have told of slamming doors and strange noises in the deserted building. Others reported hearing footsteps and the screams of patients have from empty rooms. Several stories center on the 5th floor of the hospital, where tuberculosis patients with mental disturbances were reportedly treated. Some visitors claim to have seen mysterious shapes moving in the windows, or to have heard voices telling them to get out. Number 8. Bachelors Grove Cemetery. This small cemetery in a forest on the outskirts of Chicago has earned a reputation as the most haunted graveyard in the United States, thanks to more than 100 documented sightings of ghosts, strange lights, and other suggestively supernatural episodes. In 1991, the Chicago Sun-Times newspaper ran a celebrated photograph taken by a visitor to the graveyard, showing what appeared to be the semi-transparent form of a woman in an old-fashioned dress sitting on a gravestone. Number 7. The White House. The most famous address in the United States, 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, Washington, D.C., is also famously haunted. Many of the ghostly sightings and events revolve around Abraham Lincoln. The ghost of the assassinated 16th president has been reported so many times that the phrase, "Lincoln's ghost," has become well known. Dozens of White House aides and staffers have reported seeing apparitions or hearing ghostly footsteps or knocks that they have attributed to Lincoln's ghost. Number 6. Whaley House. Whaley House in San Diego is the most haunted house, according to Life magazine. The home was built in 1857 on the site of a former graveyard and gallows. The oldest resident ghost at Whaley House is said to be the convicted robber, Yankee Jim Robinson, who was hanged in 1852 from a gallows that stood on the property before the house was built. The reports of footsteps and other sounds have persisted for more than 100 years. The youngest daughter of the family, who lived in the house until 1953, was reportedly convinced that it was haunted by the ghost of Yankee Jim. Number 5. New Jersey's Pine Barrens. One of the most famous supernatural stories of the Pine Barrens is the tale of the Jersey Devil. In the 1840s, the creature was blamed for attacks on livestock that were accompanied by blood-curdling screams, and it began to be spotted regularly in the area. The largest spate of sightings came in 1909, when newspapers published hundreds of claims by people who said they'd encountered the Jersey Devil in several parts of South Jersey and in Philadelphia. Number 4. Gettysburg. The largest and deadliest battle of the American Civil War took place at Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, in 1863. More than 8,000 combatants were killed at Gettysburg, and in the years since the bloody battle, an uncommon number of ghost stories have been linked to events and personalities on the battlefield. Several visitors to what is now the Gettysburg National Military Park have reported hearing sounds of battle, including phantom cannon fire and the disembodied shouts or screams of ghostly soldiers. Number 3. New England's covered bridges. New England's historic covered bridges have accumulated stories of ghosts over the years. One of the best known is Emily's Bridge in Stowe, Vermont, about 30 miles east of Burlington. The spooky-looking covered bridge was the scene of a young woman's suicide by hanging in the mid-1800s. Emily's ghost is now said to haunt the bridge, leaving claw-like gouges on passing cars and scratching the backs of people who cross the bridge on foot. Number 2. New Orleans. The paranormal has a distinctive local flavor in New Orleans. One of the city's most infamous haunted houses is the LaLaurie Mansion in the French Quarter. The mansion is the former home of Madame LaLaurie. In April 1834, after a fire at the house, rescuers found bound slaves in a secret torture chamber in the attic who had been horribly tortured over a long period, and there were signs that others had been murdered there. Later occupants of the building have claimed it is still haunted by the ghosts of her victims. Number 1. Colorado's Stanley Hotel. The Stanley Hotel in Estes Park, Colorado, is famous as the remote mountainside overlook hotel featured in the 1980 Stanley Kubrick movie, The Shining. It was also the inspiration for the Stephen King novel that was made into that movie, supposedly after he'd spent a night there during a snowstorm. The hotel's infamous Room 217, which features in both the book and the movie, is said to be haunted by the ghost of a maid who was reportedly blown out of a window. That's all for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Let us know your thoughts in the comments section below. If you haven't already, then don't forget to subscribe and press that like button. Also, hit the bell icon, so you could never miss new updates from us. Thank you for watching, and we will meet you in the next one.